Welcome. We are reading the green. Just some guys that like to talk about golf, drink some beer, and play DFS. This week it's hosted by me. I'm Kyle. There's no Mike this week, so our apologies. And joining us, we have Jordan and longtime listener, contributor, Batman, Derek. Derek, first RTG appearance. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm overjoyed. Been waiting for my debut.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Jordan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, and I think you started this off appropriately by apologizing for this podcast. Mike is the one that prepares and does everything, and Kyle and I show up, and now Mike's not here. He's still prepared for us, but
yeah, kind of. And on top of all that, we have to do it sober because it's still our little dry January here, so we'll see where this goes. But anyway, it's Tuesday, January 17th. Tonight, we're going to talk about a little bit of Sony Open recap and then look forward to the American Express. But first off, so Derek's joining us. He's not in the Twin Cities where we are based. He's 6 hours south of us, down in southern Iowa. For those that are geographically challenged, Derek, can you golf there this time of year? I know that answer, but not everyone does.
There's days where you probably can golf, but none of the courses you want to golf are going to be open. I imagine you'd probably have to go down to like Oklahoma City or something to have regular courses open, or maybe even Texas.
That was going to be the next question: is how far south do you have to drive? Like, could you get in a car tomorrow morning and drive for 2 hours and then go play?
I'm sure you could, but it's probably going to be not a very fun little municipal course that you'd have to jump on, and it's brown and dead.
All the good ones closed down. I remember Ari, who came on last year to talk about, what was it, the BMW or whatever tournaments in Memphis. He can still play. So Memphis is far enough south that he's still playing all winter.
You could play on some dormant grass. We'll have that going on the PGA Tour this week.
Yeah. This is the brown tournament.
Our local golf club is finally good enough to where we can like close, and after like a certain time and be like, hey, no more damage, we're done. So that makes me feel good about our golf course.
So how close are you to playing some golf outdoors? Because here for us, maybe if we squint, we could be out there in 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, early April's doable if the weather cooperates.
If we have enough sun to melt our 30 inches of snow. But hey, we made a good dent this week.
Yeah, the rain helped a lot.
We are always playing in March, and sometimes as early as first or second week. Just kind of depends how February goes, I guess.
Well, it sounds like we all need a little bit of simulator time in the near future to start warming up because, hey, golf is around the corner for us, hopefully. We need something to get our mind off of the local football team up here. I myself am not a Vikings fan, but kind of partake in the general mood of the city when stuff goes as far south as it did this past Sunday.
I thought we said we weren't going to talk about this.
Yeah, it was bad. No one's surprised. No one in Minneapolis, even like people, outsiders looking at the record, are probably a little surprised. No one in Minneapolis is that surprised that they lost.
I did have a bet in for the Vikings to cover. I had a little bit of faith. Thought the narrative had gone a little too far, but turns out I'm overly optimistic sometimes.
Whoops. I did just look up, Kyle. My first round last year was April 29th.
Oh.
And then April 30th is the day I crushed my fingers and didn't get to golf again for a month.
I would advise not to do that this year.
We did. J.Y. Sodi is in our listener league all the time. He had a good run last year. We did go down to Maryville, Missouri last year before our course opened. So it was like 50 and windy, and we were wearing everything we had, but we were still golfing in March, and we thought it was pretty sweet.
I would be all for it. You get to that time of year, you're looking for any reason to get out. So I support that. Well, we are still in January, but I'll continue the theme of NA beers. I got 2 weeks left of this before I get to go back to the good stuff. But I think I found the best one I've had so far. The Athletic Brewing, they have a hazy IPA. It's called Free Wave. It's okay. It tastes like a beer, kind of. It's just missing a little bit of that body. I would say it's kind of like some of the session IPAs, but it's drinkable. Anything on your guys' end tonight?
I had those same ones. I drank them all watching the national championship game, among other things. I have a Lagunitas IPNA that's really not worth showing, but I'm just drinking it just because to fit in.
No, I'm not fitting in. I've got my glass of water here. We're going. I've already broken dry January, but now it's no drinking at my house for the month of January.
So 2 weeks left for you as well.
Yeah. Or unless I go out to dinner or do something fun.
Well, so that first pod in February, I believe, will be for the waste management. So hey, it's a great time to bring it back. Right?
That is. Yeah. I'll just Coors Light. That's all we can drink that night.
Yeah, been there.
I'll pipe in my feed from the simulator and hit shots on. Was that 16, 17?
16.
You guys can celebrate if I hit the green.
You got 16 for viewing, but then 17 is a great golf hole, so it's you can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah, didn't you used to get to go with your work, Kyle?
I got to go 1 year. That different ownership group now. That doesn't happen anymore.
Bummer.
So transitioning to recapping last week, we had the Sony Open, and Siwoo Kim took home the championship. So as Jordan Spieth would like to say, Siwoo is indeed shaking that ass. He had a great chip in on 17, went over the green on the par 3, came back, chipped it in to stay right with Hayden Buckley, and then went on to birdie 18 as well to take home the title, which was great for Jordan, right? We talked about Golf Goons last week, and you took home some of the stuff called ETH. I still don't know what it is, but
yeah, they pay out all their prizes in crypto, and just since I owned part of Siwoo and he won, I got money without making any other bets. And then I had to build my lineup. Who it was? He, Cameron Davis, and Brian Harmon. And the three of them, I had the best three-person lineup out of 25 people. Because I don't think anyone else had played Siwoo. So it was my actual DraftKings money was not great last week. That more than made up for it, though.
So what was more beneficial financially, the Siwoo winning or your 3-man lineup?
I actually got paid this roughly the same on both of them, but the Siwoo winning cost me nothing. Just because since I own him, if he wins, anytime he wins, I'm going to get paid.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's a great start for you in your Golf Goons. I don't think you saw it, Jordan, but I believe you did, Derek. I'm not sure what Hayden Buckley was doing on 18. So he hits driver and kind of ends up in the secondary cut, probably right up against the rough. I want to say he was like 235 out, and he pulls out his 5-iron. Him and the caddy you're talking about said they really like the shot, and hits his 5-iron, tries to hit, I would almost call it a runner up the neck of the green, trying to go onto the green. But it seemed like just a completely unnecessary shot to hit. Does not run it up there, ends up short-siding himself on the just short right of the hole, the one place you don't want to be, and can't get up and down to birdie it to send it to a playoff. Which it seemed like at that point, you just need a birdie. Why don't you just put it 100 yards out, try to throw a wedge in there and put it in? I really don't understand what he was trying to do. I guess somebody that's never won before, but did you see?
I was gone. I was gone most of the day Sunday, but we got home with about a hole to play, and that was my favorite part. As the ball was like bouncing up the fairway, the announcer's like, the one spot you can't miss is short right, and then the ball disappears down short right into the rough. I heard on the radio today, though, they said that they felt good enough about it that he was playing for the win and not the playoff. So he thought he could get it on the green and have a run at Eagle to win. Or I don't know if if that was their speculation, or if that's really what went down.
And I get that. I guess if you thought you had a good look to actually fly at the green and land it up there, as we saw Decky do last year, but the whole just kind of running it up, I mean, it looked I mean, towards the end, it looked like a dribbler I would try to hit. I know it already carried 200 yards at that point, but I just thought it was a bold approach. But hey, Siwoo took down the title. It was kind of a rough week overall in the Listeners League. 90-degree rule avoided most of the landmines. Piled up a bunch of top 25s and won. Iran now M2 took home second. He's had a good little run, and then Rock Chalk came home third. Do you guys know who was last in the league this week?
No idea.
Maybe
can we move on? Can we move on?
I think Mike was next to last. That's the important part.
Hey, I had one more person make the cut in my lineup than my one and done.
Wow. Yeah, you two were bad. You were 50 points worse than second to last. JYATD.
It was a rough week. I'm pretty sure I was over it by Thursday.
Well, I mean, looking at your plays, I can see why it was a rough week, amateur. Do you not listen to the podcast? None of these guys were talked about on the podcast last week, Derek.
That's my strategy. I play against the grain RTG guys. I'm not going to win playing your guys' 3 core plays.
Yeah,
so
fair
I'll
enough.
Get last 5 times in a row, and then maybe one day I'll win.
That's all it takes.
Well, speaking of the model last week, there was some good. Andrew Putnam, Corey Connors, Cam Davis all had substantial mention share, and all were top 15 in DraftKings scoring. So a good place to start, but there was a lot of landmines, most notably Tom Kim. Anyone know, has he made a putt yet? Any of his practice rounds or anything? Because I sure as hell didn't see him make any this weekend. Because he didn't play the weekend, but on Thursday or Friday. It's just
I don't know,
very poor week.
He better make a couple this week.
I'm with you there. Overall, it was a solid cash week for me, despite Tom Kim, even though I had a lot of them. Had some great looking GPPs on Friday morning until they were sunk by Jordan Spieth's implosion, first round leader to miss cut, aka the Keegan Bradley. But that definitely kept me down. How the week look overall for you guys lineup wise?
It was decent. No, nothing great. I ended up I had Siwoo as a couple of pivots in my 20 max. And got me into some money, so I didn't lose all of my 20 max money, just most of it.
It is the nature of a 20 max.
Yeah.
About a hole or two left, I thought I wasn't going to win about anything. And then after it ended, I bonus pointed my way into the last cash spot in one of my I don't even remember what it was. My most expensive tiers contest, which helped cut my losses in half. And I had a good single entry lineup that went 6 for 6. That had Siwoo. So that helped when he won and Buckley did not.
Heck yeah. The 6 for 6 percentage was 4 or 5% most contests. So that one had to end up pretty well for you. Well,
would that have won the RTG contest?
It was a pretty weak point total overall in the RTG league. Usually it takes
6s.
Yeah, no 6 for 6s. Usually it takes top 5% effort, I would say, in most in most single entry type contests to win RTG. It definitely was not that last week.
Yeah, he had 453 was the winner. 90-degree roll.
That guy. Well, from a model standpoint, so we already mentioned Siwoo took it home. He only had 8% mention share last week. He was mentioned by Pat James and PGA Tout on Twitter. John H., who writes for the Lines. The top article overall was Alex Hunter with DK Nation. The value article comes through with some top plays: Chris Kirk, Brendan Todd, Stuart Sink, which is great. But unless you paired those with three very specific, more expensive guys, namely Corey Connors, Mav McNeely, and Siwoo, that would have given you a lineup of 48-6. Those three probably didn't really get you too far. But hey, we always love the good value play, so it's nice when those pop to the top. Already talked about some landmines, but also had Sung Jae, Alex Smalley, Keith Mitchell, and a special shout out to Ryan Armour, who, hey, got a hole in one, so he got us that hole in one challenge, but he only needed a par 18 to make the cut, and that had a 50% birdie rate through Friday. So over Thursday and Friday, what did he do? He bogeyed 18 and missed the cut, which cost me a 6 for 6. So special shout out to Ryan Armour. Not cool. Overall, not our best week. Usually we end up with about 80% of the model plays that have more than 25% of the mention share make the cut. This week it was only about 58. So everyone's still getting the groove a little bit. I'm not surprised by that. Kind of a little different event out in Hawaii, but we move on. But hey, it was the first week of the one and done for the RTG League. Jordan, what's our one and done update? I know I missed the cut, but how'd everyone else?
Yeah, some people used a lot of losses this week with Tom Kim and Sung Jae M. But it was funny, after all the picks came out, we were all chatting in our Slack and just ripping on the idiots that picked Matt Kuchar and Andrew Putnam. Do you not understand one and done? What are you doing? And then Andrew Putnam gets 4th and Matt Kuchar 7th, and those two idiots make us all look like fools. So yeah, there was the top 8 guys all made over $100,000 in the league, and then it's down in the 40s and 20s and teens, and then there's Kyle and Derek down there with some zeros.
Hey, I'm okay. Low purse event. You just got to win the big ones. Just, shaking the rust off, taking some shots here, and by the time we get to the stadium course, I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, wait, and you said you're changing your strategy up now, right?
Yep.
What's that?
Well, last week I didn't want to be the guy that missed the cut the first week. So I used probably a little bit of a higher ranked player than I typically would. It didn't go well.
I didn't want to be the guy that missed the cut.
Yeah, it didn't go well. So this week, I'm like, that's foolish. I look at the gentleman that picked Harris English and ours, who, what did he win? $46,000. You're going to get that for finishing. I mean, you're going to get $500,000 for making the cut at the players. So I'm going to try to save my big guns for those events. So I have multiple options and not pigeonholed, and just going to take some shots at events like this.
You've always been one to save yourself, Kyle. So this is a good switch for you.
Well, this week we are moving on to the Coachella Valley in California for the American Express. Guys, it takes place over 3 courses. I don't know if you knew that, Jordan.
I did. This one I know because only one of the 3 has terrible TV coverage, right?
2 of the 3, really.
2 of the 3.
Yeah. You have the Pete Dye Stadium course, which gets 1 round Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, and then the round on Sunday. You have the Quinta and the Nicholas Tournament course. So it's a pro-am. So you're going to have slow rounds, easy pins, slow greens, short rough. So I would take that into consideration in your builds, because I think there's going to be a certain type of player that is okay in those certain conditions, and maybe some that don't like playing with John, that's the CFO of RSM, for example.
Was this the one last year where John Rahm was bitching about the greens?
It is. I believe the word was a goddamn fucking putting contest or something like that. Yes. That was Mr. Rahm. He didn't like that. You just trying to hit the green and make a putt.
Mainly because he couldn't make a putt.
Yeah. Well, down towards the end, he finished second, right? But he just couldn't quite catch.
Is this where Cam Young was first in contention and shot like an 84?
You certainly.
Or has that happened yet?
I don't remember Cam Young for sure. If you want to try to look that up, but that is a good segue because these 3 courses. So the Quinta is the easiest course. I would definitely target that for your showdown rounds. The Nicklaus Tournament course, you're going to see some good scores there as well. It's, I would say, middle of the road. The Pete Dye Stadium course is scoreable, but you will see some blowups. So I wouldn't be surprised if you do see somebody over 80. There's a ton of water. There's some hard bunkers. One hole in particular that stands out to me, I want to say it's like 5 or 6. It's just poorly designed for the modern golfer because there's a cart path that cuts in the middle of the fairway that some of the guys can reach and drive, and then somebody hit it. And this might have been the course hole you're talking about, Eric. He hit it and hit the cart path and bounded into the second lake, which is like 400 yards away.
And this was the one that Cam Young shot a +5 in the 4th round last year.
But he did shoot the 84 game at Memorial, which I thought he was in contention. I thought he was more in contention when he shot the 84, but yeah, he had a couple bad 4th rounds last year, I guess.
Yeah, who won this one? You guys remember who won this one last year?
Yeah, some guy who disappeared off the face of the earth. He doesn't exist anymore. He might be sitting in a car waiting to hear his fate to see if he can go play in a golf tournament. Last I heard, that's where he was. So, yeah. But yeah, Hudson Swafford won last year. That's great to bring up though, because it was his second victory at the event. Event history really seems to matter here.
So Tom Hoagie is a big favorite then, huh?
Tom Hoagie is certainly in play along that lines as well. Given the course setup and guys that like to play well in programs, I would also check out how they play at Pebble as a comp, and he plays well there too. So I think he's certainly in play. It is a stronger field this year. We have 5 of the top 7 official world golf rankings in this event and 10 of the top 20. Everyone is guaranteed 3 rounds. They don't have the cut until after Saturday, but yeah, it's a putting contest. I think you're going to see a lot of stars and scrubs because it just fits well. You have a lot of guys towards the top 10K range that people are going to want to get in their lineups, and you've had long shots win here. 3 of the last 4 have been true bombs. It's a bomb week. We've had winners win over 200 to 1.
So that's a great transition into the model, Kyle, but I want someone, while I talk about that, to see if they can figure out how much did Hudson Swafford cost last year at this tournament. Because I'm looking at, the model it's stars and not quite total scrubs are all at the top. So I'm gonna jump in, Kyle, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, what's in the model?
So right now we've got there's a lot of people at the top. We're still missing some big articles, but Adam Hadwin and Patrick Cantlay, 2 top vote mention receivers right now. That's 8,200 and over 10,000. I know Cantlay has great course history here, so I'm sure that's why he's getting a lot of the love. Next up is where we get into this scrubs or almost scrubs. Ben Griffin, David Lipsky, 72 and 7,300 have 6 mentions, but so does John Rahm at 10,800. And then next up, we've got Scotty Scheffler with 5 mentions, and then comes Hoagie and Kim, as well as Thomas Dietrich. There's a bunch of 5 mentions right now, but the interesting thing, Kyle, as I'm looking at it is, right, all the 10,000 guys are in the top 10 of mentions. And then everyone else is 8,200, 7,200, 7,300, 7,600, right? Like there's people are really on your stars and scrubs. I don't normally consider like 75-ish hundred a scrub. Like that's usually where I go to the 6,000, 6,500. So that's why these aren't bad golfers, which is a good thing, but it'll be harder to put lineups together when you're taking $7,500 instead of $6,500.
Yeah, and so I think you're going to see a lot of that style build this week. So if you want to get a little different, go with a little bit more balanced approach. So Hudson Swafford was 150 to 1 last year when he won, and just to continue on the Bombers theme, Siwoo won it in 2021. He was only 55. That's low for this, but we had Andrew Landry at 200. And then we had Adam Long the year before at 600 to 1.
Oh, geez.
I did not find
his DraftKings price.
Yeah, did you?
6,700. And he putted out of his mind.
Wait, Kyle, while you go over your 3, and you and Derek go over your 3 picks, I'm gonna find our spreadsheet from last year. And
see if he was even on the sheet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start this week with my top plays with Patrick Cantlay. Pat James is on him. RotoWire's on him. Jordan mentioned he's getting some love from mention share standpoint, but he's only been outside the top 16 in 1 of the last 11 starts. Did play over at the Century TOC, finished 16th. Here, particularly the last 3 times he's been at the Amex, he's finished 9th, 2nd, and 9th. And I mentioned the comparison to playing a Pro-Am event at Pebble Beach. He's been 3rd and 11th the last 2 times there. Slow player, notoriously overall, so the slow rounds aren't going to bother him, and he doesn't seem to mind Pro-Am. So great course event, great course history, great event history. I'm going to be starting with Patrick Cantlay in a lot of lineups. From there, going down and getting a little bit of savings with David Lipsky. Matt Joyce at Stochastic is on him. He has 5 straight top 40s, 2 top 10s, and played pretty well last week and has been pretty hot with the putter. And that's what we're really looking for, is someone that can pop putting. And then lastly, I think I got to play John Rahm, guys. He's going to be tough to get in a lot of lineups, but if you're going to have to pick someone in the $10,000 range, I think you can play, especially from a cash build standpoint. So, Rahm 10-8, I'm going to try to make it work. What do you got there?
Hold on. You had Cantlay, who was over 10,000. Rahm, who was over 10,000. Who was your other one?
Lipsky at 7,300.
Lipsky.
So your other 3 are going to be like averaging 6,100?
Going bombs. That was... I
have my bombs. I'm saving some of those guys for the betting part.
Hadwin had 2 mentions last year.
Hadwin or Swafford?
Swafford.
Who
Hadwin?
Golf Digest
Rick
and
Andy.
The Athletic.
And Dennis Esser. All right.
I like Cantlay as well. I haven't really done a whole lot of stuff. I've listened to a lot, but if I can't get him in, I'll either start somewhere. There's someone who we'll talk about a little later. Otherwise, I'm going to go in the putting contest with none other than the best putter, Taylor Montgomery. He's kind of... I heard a crazy stat on him. I'm sure, Kyle, you probably heard it too. He's made 20 of his last 24 cuts, and I think 19 of those 20, he finished like in the top 15 or something crazy stupid like that. So it's probably a miscut this week once I'm on board.
The Tom Kemp effect.
And then I think it's only right that I'm filling in for Mike. I think I better get myself some Tom Hoagie this week. Nobody's hitting the ball as well, and he sucks around the green, but doesn't matter when you don't miss the green. So, and then
how is he $1,500 cheaper this week? I know there's a stronger field, but like that seems to not align how much he dropped.
He was 99 last week.
Wasn't he 99 last week? Because we all thought it was too expensive. Now I'm going to look. You keep going. I'm going to go back again.
Yeah,
and I think, I mean, there's nothing safe about this range, but I think my low sevens guy will be Ben Griffin, because he had an awesome fall and he was pretty good last week. And for $7,200, you're just looking to get like a top 20, and that's pretty much all he's done going back to last fall.
I like it. I might be on Griffin in one way as well. What do you got this week, Jordan?
Nothing really new here, guys. Cantlay, I was on. I liked Griffin as well in that range. I just can't trust someone named Lipsky.
Fair.
Like, one of the listeners, he took his wife's name, and his name is now Lidsky. So I just can't go with that. Sorry, Bukol. Yeah, but I'm gonna have Hoagie. Like I said, 8,400 for Hoagie. Like, why did he drop $1,500 over the last tournament? And then my deep shot down the list with the $7,000 I had left was Mark Hubbard. He was the cheapest, furthest up that I could get. He's got 4 mentions. We'll see what happens.
I can get there. I can get behind that as well. I'll have a little bit more on Hubbard in a moment. So what about tiers? Have either of you taken a glance at tiers and see if there's anywhere the model's helping us out this week?
That's a great question, and I'm going to say no. I haven't looked. Oh, but I was just...
Something just happened. So, I kind of had my eye on tier 3. And I think it's going to be some tough decisions, but you have Tom Kim, you have Cameron Young, Brian Harmon, Siwoo Kim, and Taylor Montgomery. So we just talked about Taylor Montgomery and his putting prowess. You have Tom Kim, who did everything great last week except for make a putt, and he's leading the way in mention share at this point in time. But then you have Cameron Young, who has some history here through 3 rounds. I know some people like him this week. Pretty strong in the MPI at this point in time. So really, I think it's going to come down to whether you feel like Tom Kim can rebound with the putter or not. At this point in time, I think I'm willing to take that bet quite literally.
I think that's it's not a bad bet. No one's going to say that's a bad bet. And he might be lower owned this week also, because people are coming off missing the cut, right? That really don't pay that much attention. Just see him missing a cut.
Yeah, he burned a lot of people last week, and people in one and dones and everything. So, so I think from here, guys, let's go into the name game. So last week, I got my second straight win. I'm trying to turn into Jordan here with my law firm of Taylor, Thompson, and more. Mike only had one guy miss the cut, just stunk it up, gets deadline.
One guy make the cut.
Yeah, sorry. One guy made the cut. 2 guys missed the cut.
Yeah,
so
I will say all 3 of the Bens made the cut.
Team Ben last week.
Only 1 Michael and 1 Ryan. So Ben's win.
Ben's. Well, this week Mike did design a game for us, even though he's out. I think he titled it, "Hey, that's my name too." So there's a lot of duos with the same name in this week. So we have 5 options. So Derek will pick one. Derek will also pick one for the listeners as a 4th pick, and then whatever's left, Mike gets the 5th pick. And we're not right sizing this week for salaries because they're all fairly close. So it's just straight up DK points for these 2. The first option is Team Patrick. You have Cantlay and Rogers at 17-8. You have Team Taylor, Montgomery, and Pendrith at 16-9. You have Team Tom at 17-9 with Hoagie and Kim. You have Team Will, Gordon, and Zalatoris at 1,700. And lastly, Team Cameron, Young, and Davis at 17-9. I think we let Derek go first, and then we'll go to Jordan, me, and then listeners, and then Mike.
So I get pick 1 and 4.
Yep.
Yeah, pick 1 and 4.
Shoot.
You get first one, and then
I thought I was getting 1 and 2. That changes everything. I will. Oh man. I mean, in any other world, I'm always taking Zalatoris, but I think I will take Team Tom.
Damn it, Derek.
Yeah.
We got Hoagie and Kim. That's
a no-brainer. Even though the dollars aren't that much different for some, but those two.
Cantley might win this thing by himself, but I'll take a chance although P-Rod is kind of Kyle and I's boy.
Yeah, I do like betting Patrick Rogers.
What
do you got, Jordan?
This week.
Wait, so we got the Patricks, the Wills,
the Taylors, and the Camerons.
Taylors, Camerons.
The Camerons have the same price point as the Toms.
Yeah. Which is surprising.
And Cam Davis has been playing pretty well.
Yeah. And Cam Young has done well this tournament, right? That's a thing.
Until his implosion on Sundays. I mean, he's great through Saturday. Just don't worry about Sunday.
It's tough to pass up the Patricks, but there's a lot bigger risk with Rogers than with the rest of them. So I'm going to go Camerons.
So to quantify Cam Davis, I had looked this up earlier. I didn't realize he was on this type of run, but you go back to John Deere last year. 14th, 13th, 35th. I missed cut at the fortnight, as we like to say around here. But then 37th, 29th, 13th, 32nd. So he's in that's pretty good form going. All right, Camerons for Jordan. This is tough, but yeah, I'm gonna go Patrick's. I think Cantley's gonna win it.
Well, he's got good course history here. He likes to play slow, so I suppose I tried to phone a friend and get some help from the audience, but I'm not getting any responses. So that goes back to me, and I get a second chance.
But you don't.
I'm not passing.
You get no credit for we're gonna say the listeners won this.
That's fine. Derek. That's fine. But since I'm making the pick, I'm not passing on BD Will for the second time.
There you go.
Will Gordon and Will Zalatoris, and then that leaves Mike, Team Taylor, Montgomery, and Pendrith. Mike was on Taylor last week, so Taylor, Montgomery, that is, and he does enjoy some Taylor Pendrith as well. So I don't think he'll mind that one bit. Overall, since we began this last year, Jordan has won 7. I've won 4, moving in second place. Mike's won 3, and the listeners have 2 victories so far. Let's talk about betting cards. Derek, what do you got in so far?
Well, I only have 2 official bets made, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, but my first thought when it came up was we wanted to bet. I don't know if we don't want to bet, but we were all in on Tom Kim last week because it was a good course fit. He just didn't make a stinking putt. And then he comes out this week and he's like, his odds are like twice as high. So my first thought was, why would we not be on him again? All he's got to do is putt average and he's going to be in contention. So we got him at 22 and then it immediately went to 25, but I think now it's back to 22.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one that top popped off just by looking at it was JTP. We got him at 90, and I think he's as low as 50 or 60 now. So those are the only two things I have right now. I think I'm going to take another swing in like the 40 to 60 range, and then go a little Kyle and sprinkle a lot of bombs this week, but I don't have that all finalized yet.
So I built a little bit of a different card this week without the option to put out first round winners or leaders. I usually take the 5 guys outright, a place bet and then first round leader. So I have a lot more guys than normal and a lot of sprinkles in the bomb range, as Derek mentioned. I'm also on Tom Kim, JTP, and then just my normal 1 unit winner bets. I have Harris English at 90 and Will Gordon at 110. And then welcome to my bomb territory, either half units or even quarter units on some of these guys. But Mark Hubbard, Jordan, at 250 to 1. David Lipsky, I got him at 180. Lingmerth at 300. Justin Lower at 300. And I'm also backing all those up with top 20s that range from anywhere from 500 and Lipsky up to 700 and Lingmerth. And then also threw in a top 20 for Harry Hall at 700 as well. So the good thing is there's going to be some of those bombs that I climbed this week. So as long as they can hit a couple of those top 20s, it'd be a positive week. And then who knows, maybe catch a winner from there, because it's certainly happened at this course. And I know we have a better field this year, but I still think there's a lot of elements at play that really make the bombs a decent look. Any other thoughts?
Can I give Will Gordon a special shout out?
Yeah.
Not in a good way, but I panicked after listening to some podcasts, and somebody was talking about how he just explodes in certain rounds. So I picked him as a first round leader, and then he was like nowhere close. And then randomly on Saturday, he was tied for the lead. So just a couple days off on that one.
Third round leader bet on a Tuesday.
Third round leader at any point.
Yeah.
During the day.
Well, any other thoughts on the MX, guys?
Nope.
Probably not going to be a great viewing experience.
Correct.
Until Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember quite a bit of Sunday last year, so there was some memorable moments. But I'm looking forward to after this and getting back into some of the events and tournaments we really like. The good thing is after this, we go over to the Farmers at Torrey Pines. We'll have a lot to talk about there, and then it really. Then we have Pebble, then we have TPC Scottsdale, the Waste Management Open. So we are close to some of the really good stuff. But thank you all for joining us this week. Thanks, Derek, for hopping on, and we'll be back next week. But until then, good luck to the lineups, and see ya.